Relocating with kids, one wrong move could mean stress, bad schools, or even a safety concern. And I have seen it all happen. In this video, I'll give you the must-know info to make your family move to Estero smart, safe, and totally worth it. I help families like yours every single week who are relocating to Estero and want to make sure that they're making the right move for their children and for their future. Whether you're just starting to explore or just ready to buy, I'd love to help. Call me at 239-380-4665 or check the description below for the best ways to get in touch. So relocating to Southwest Florida with your kids, into Estero specifically, which is the Lee County School District down here, you got to think about your schools. And now Florida has what they call school choice, which does mean you have an option to pick the schools in which you would like to go to, but it's a lot more than that. So with that in mind, you need to take in consideration what schools are around the community that you're going to be buying in, and how good are they in comparison to others? Because just because you want to go to that school and it's closest to you, A, doesn't mean that you're going to get into that school, because there is what these things called lotteries. But, you know, there might be the next second school or third school that you might want to choose for your child that, you know, usually when you're doing these lotteries, you put your top three choices and then they figure out who else wants in those schools based off priority or other siblings that already attend that school. And then that's how they determine the spots that they have open each year. So you might not get in your first, but you might get in your second, and sometimes not even your second. You might even only get in your third choice school. So you might not be that close to the school in which you're living by. You might drive past the school that you wanted to, maybe even your second choice, to get to the school that your kids are going to in that given year. So you need to really take in consideration of that and how and when those lotteries are taking place. So right now we're just hitting Easter time right now. And so if you're considering relocating for the fall for school, you really need to get a house under contract, because you need that contract to be able to even register to get into these lotteries. So that's something you absolutely need to take in consideration. Schools are ranked like anybody else down here, and there are some great websites to look at. One is greatschools.org and niche.com. They'll be in the description below to take a look at. But you really got to take in consideration of those things. Now, there are other options. You have non-traditional schools, or like charter schools, which have their own separate kind of lottery outside of the public school district. But then you also have things called like where my kids go to school, which is called Acton Academy of Estero, which is a non-traditional kind of a take on a Montessori school and homeschooling and entrepreneurial school, which is, we found a great option for our kids. And, you know, it's not traditional school atmosphere, but for us, it made perfect sense for our kids. So those are other options. And the great thing about it is a lot of the, you know, tuition assistance you have in Florida can go towards these non-traditional schools, unlike other states where they won't. So our kids are eligible. They get money from what they call as the Step Up program, and it covers most of their schooling, which is a great option for us. So yeah, really take in consideration where you're going to live, what kind of school, what kind of schooling do you want your kid to be in, and how do you get there? And all great questions that can be answered, and love to help you with it. Another thing you need to consider about with regards to moving to Southwest Florida, Estero specifically, is what kind of community do you want to live in? Now, a lot of people come down here for the snow season, and they're snowbirds. So a lot of these communities that you are thinking, oh, they're great, let me get into that community, is going to be phenomenal for my family. They can have a bunch of friends nearby. Well, not every community is created equal down here, because there are a higher demand for certain seasonal people in certain communities. Like the community that I am in, which is one of the top neighborhood communities for families, is over 50% occupied year round and have a high number of families that have children in it. And the community that I live in is the place at Corkscrew. So it's right off of Corkscrew Road in Estero, Florida. It's amazing gated community with, a ton of amenities. But, with that comes, you have an HOA and the certain cost of HOAs. So when you're thinking about moving to these communities, you're not just looking at the price of the house, of what the mortgage is. You have to take in consideration what is the HOA fee that's going to be on a quarterly basis, because you got to tack that onto your mortgage payment. So don't always think that it's just this number and for this utilities is the cost of living in Estero, specifically in these gated communities. You need to take in consideration the HOA cost. So some of the greatest communities for families right now is the place at Corkscrew, Bella Terra, which is a little bit less money with regards to their HOA fees, and it's a little bit of an older community. And then you go even a little bit older than that, but a great community, really close to 75, is Stony Brook. It's got that golf course vibe. It's a public golf course that is intertwined with inside that community. So those are three great communities to look at. But, each three of those three have different qualities and different best and not great things about each one of them. So if you'd like to learn about those communities, shoot me a message, talk to you a little bit more about it, and we can go from there. When you're looking at these gated communities, you got to take a look at some of these safety things, and you got to take a look at, the data and information, because it's readily available. So you need to take in consideration and use your resources and research these communities. You can use resources like the Lee County Sheriff Office for neighborhood crime stats. I mean, it is, a low crime area, but there is things to take in consideration. Certain gated communities are more secured than others. Check out tools like your neighborhood scout or city data for detailed safety ratings based off of those standards. Consider proximity to fire station, hospitals, main roads, stuff of that nature, all things that you should take in consideration. Drive the neighborhood at different times of the day to see what the feel is with regards to how people treat their neighborhood, whether they have respect for the speed limit within the neighborhood. I would say that go on to the Facebook pages of these communities, but usually you have to be a resident before you can be part of those. And I would tread lightly on those, because there's a lot of people that just have nothing else better to do. So all they're going to do is talk badly about whatever neighborhood that they're in, because they're cranky people. But, it's kind of like one of those things. Nobody puts a review out there about usually the good aspects of a location. Usually it's all about the negative. So tread lightly with the Facebook pages, but, it can be used as a resource if you really wanted to. Some of the things I want to talk to you about is kind of like, tips for adjusting kids to the move. Involve the kids in the house hunting process. It builds excitement. They feel like they have a little bit of a say, and they can think about what kind of room they want to live in, or how they're going to be playing in that environment. The more buy-in you can get from the kids, the better, I personally think, because it builds that excitement. And, whatever sentimental things you have in the past might, from where you're relocating from, might be a little bit subdued because of the excitement of moving to a new, exciting new place. Visit schools and let kids meet the teachers and walk the campus ahead of time, so that they're not walking into a brand new environment that they have no clue what's going on. The more information that kids can have or be exposed to, the better, in my personal opinion, because kids have a hard time adjusting. You really they're great at adapting, but initial adjustment takes some time. So the more you can get ahead of that, the better. Keep routines consistent during the move, bedtimes, meals, etc., as best as you can, especially if you're driving down here and you're not going to just like fly down here. Me and my family did a little bit of both. I actually relocated from New England, and I drove with our dog. and made sure that everything got down here. And then my wife and 3 kids flew down here. So it made it a lot easier than having to do that whole drive process. We had to actually ship my wife's car down here, but it was well worth it with regards to keeping their routine as, normal as possible. Find local groups, sports, activities, music, dance, youth programs, stuff that your kids might have liked doing back where they are home. Try to get them immersed into the environment down here as soon as possible to get some form of similarity to what they were back at home. That's going to get them to be meet people, get them to buy into the community a little bit more, as well as keeping that same routine a little bit the same, but just in a different location. And find fun ways to explore Estero and surrounding areas like Fort Myers or Naples. The Naples Zoo is amazing. You have the Everglades down here. You have IMAG, Science Museum in Fort Myers. There's just an abundance of things to do down here that there's no excuse to be able to have a way of exploring, and it doesn't have to cost a lot. You can explore a different beach each week and pay just for parking. So, collect seashells. A lot of people love to do that. Go over to Sanibel. Sanibel is a great place, completely different than most of the other areas around this area. It's kind of like almost like its own oasis away from the regular everyday atmosphere of Southwest Florida area. So those are just kind of some tips to help your kids adjust to this dramatic, sometimes move to a beautiful area of Southwest Florida. Relocating with kids isn't just about finding a house. It's about finding a place where your family can truly feel at home. Between choosing the right schools and choosing the right neighborhoods and making sure everyone feels safe and settled, it can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. I work with families just like yours every week, helping them make confident, informed moves to Estero, Florida. So whether you're still in the research mode or already packing boxes, I'd love to be your local guide. My name is Joe Leah. I am the founder and team lead at the Anchor Point Group in Premier Plus Realty. You can call me at 239-380-4665 or check the video descriptions for the easiest ways to reach me. Let's find the perfect place for your family to grow, thrive, and feel right at home here in Southwest Florida in Estero, Florida.